up, y'all? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Jay-Z, you are doing the most to dispel any counter narratives other than an outright victory. Y'all, we got to talk about this. Yes, we just landed. Yes, we are going into it. But let's talk about the way Jay-Z put a stop to any inkling that there was a settlement. He ain't letting up. He just dropped another lawsuit on Tony Buzbee. On top of that, the internet is yapping. Lawyered Up is saying that Jay-Z is vindicated. On the admission issues, that's when he said that Tony Buzbee was not licensed to practice law in New York City. Then Alex Spiro was like, yo, it's not New York City, it's Southern District of New York. They said Buzbee is licensed to practice law in New York State courts. He is also admitted to practice before the Eastern District Court for the Eastern District of New York. That's federal. But he was not admitted to practice before the Southern District of New York. Normally, it would have been easy for him to get admitted to SDNY. The fact that he didn't get admitted all this time and was reluctant to do so raised some red flags, and Alex Spiro pounced. Now, let me just decode that, right? Alex Spiro has always contended, and I guess he was right because Buzbee blinked first, that Tony Buzbee didn't get admitted in the Southern District of New York because you can't get somebody sanctioned or disbarred if they're not admitted. Now, let me just say this. Let's get into the Jay-Z article because a lot of people yesterday were like, oh my God, you don't know Jay-Z settled. Jay-Z just filed another lawsuit. You ain't filing two lawsuits against somebody that you settled with. Who would be dumb enough to do that, okay? People talking about, oh my God, she was made to do that. Stop. Because at the end of the day, we got to call a thing a thing. What Buzbee did does not make sense, and he hasn't given an answer. That case 100% would have survived a motion to dismiss. Palooza v. Archdiocese, he didn't even wait for the motion to dismiss decision. He literally dipped out the very last day that he had to show proof that he was licensed or had even submitted proof he was licensed in the Southern District of New York to practice. Again, does it fit your narrative? No. Does it? But at the end of the day, baby, we talking about what actually is, not what we hope it to be, not what it should be, not what we think it should be. At the end of the day, we want there to be no victims and we want the perpetrators to be held accountable. Yes, all day it's believe all victims, but when the victim withdraws the lawsuit for no reason, again, it would have survived motion to dismiss. Every legal expert pretty much agrees with that. You didn't even wait for the motion to dismiss. Tony Buzbee withdrew on that deadline, okay? Let's get into a couple other things that aren't making sense, and Buzbee has not provided any answer. We don't have to write Tony Buzbee fan fiction. He got a whole Instagram page to write fan fiction, to write his own narrative. And he's never been this quiet before. So we don't have to fill in the blanks. We can wait for him to answer. But in the meantime, what does he have to answer? A couple of things. Why did you withdraw before the motion to dismiss was even decided on? And you had a very, very good chance to survive the motion to dismiss. There's something else that spooked you. It couldn't have been a settlement because Jay-Z just filed another case saying that Tony Buzbee, not Tyrone Blackburn, baby. He ain't even in this. If y'all need a lawyer, we all know what's going on, Buzbee. Hit up Tyrone Blackburn. He seems to be doing really well representing his clients. But Tony Buzbee withdrew the day that he was due to actually show that he was admitted to Southern District of New York. And it would be very easy for him to get admitted. So it makes you wonder, why don't you want to be admitted? What is going on? On top of that, if you settle with one, ain't a settlement in the world with a lawyer of Tony Buzbee's savvy, knowledge, prestige, and money, right? Jay-Z might be a billionaire, but baby, Tony Buzbee is not far behind, who would literally settle and then get sued for blackmail. Because that's what he's saying. He's saying that there's a second male victim that Tony Buzbee tried to blackmail. Now, we can say, well, is the victim telling the truth? Is there proof? We don't know. We are looking at Tony Buzbee's side eye. And honestly, anybody that supported Tony Buzbee right now should be giving him the side eye. Let me just break this down before we get into the case. One, he didn't even get the motion to dismiss, and he would have survived that motion to dismiss. Two, You waited for the Southern District of New York. 3, you just got sued again. So where's the settlement? 4, you did it. And this is the one thing everybody that wants the Jay-Z thing to be true. But what about the Diddy stuff? Why did you drop the case against Diddy? You could have did limited discovery on the party planner. You could have subpoenaed the workers of the after party. You could have subpoenaed the limo driver. All this is literally in IRS records. There's so much you could have done to find out the real story. So did you? And the real story didn't match up? Or was it something more? And if it was something more, why isn't Tony Buzbee speaking about it? Again, I don't care what narrative you wanted, whether Jay-Z was innocent or whether he was guilty. Can we ask these questions? Because when we're not asking those questions, it really doesn't make sense. Literally. Anyway, get this, right? Buzbee is not letting up on Jay-Z. I'm sorry, Jay-Z is not letting up on Tony Buzbee. I will say one thing. Alex Spiro did that. If anybody got a couple of dollars, use Alex Spiro to be your lawyer. He did the thing. He is worth his weight in gold. Like literally, he's worth his weight in gold. I'm not even sure Jay-Z could have pulled this off without a lawyer, without Alex Spiro. I mean it. We might as well just calling this a spit. I don't think Jay-Z or any other lawyer could have pulled this off. I think only Alex Spiro could have pulled this off. So I guess that money is. Now, let me just say one thing to narratives, because for the people, Rock Nation, saying that the system failed, I want to say one thing. Rock Nation, also with these narratives, shut up. The system failed a billionaire who checks notes, literally talking about to quote Twitter, a court case that never made it past initial filings, and as a result was dismissed with prejudice, which means they can never bring it up again. You're suing Buzbee right now for blackmail, defamation, blackmail, extortion, and blackmail. Rock Nation, shut up. The system failed the billionaire who the case never made it past the preliminary stages, and you're suing. That's the system failing. Anyway, I think both sides are doing the most, but at the end of the day, Tony Buzbee is the one that actually needs to answer what happened. Let's get into this blackmail lawsuit. And again, this destroys any narrative that there was actually a settlement. And also the people saying, well, she could feel like her life is in danger. Baby, the federal government is investigating. Go to the federal government. File a criminal complaint. File a criminal complaint with the feds. Anyway, and Tony Buzbee is a former Marine. Like he told us over and over, he's not scared. He pretty much runs shit in Texas. He said he's not scared. He did all this stuff. So I'm confused where everybody else is winding up with this. Anyway, Jay-Z said Buzbee tried to shake him down on another false accuser. They said Jay-Z is going out of his way to expose Tony Buzbee's alleged attempts to get large sums of money from him over 2 different allegations, one of which was just dismissed and the other never ended up in court. Buzbee sent 2 demand letters to Jay in November 2024. One of them was over Jane Doe, who accused Jay and Diddy of raping her in 2000 when she was 13. The other was for a John Doe, who, according to the letter, claimed Jay sexually assaulted him at a 2015 Beverly Hills party where he was 16 and had been secretly rugged by someone other than Jay. Jay-Z calls both allegations false and ridiculous in every aspect. They said, of course, they had that huge victory. They said this John Doe allegation we had not previously heard about. And Jay says Buzbee's letters for both clients demanded something of substance to address the situation, which Jay-Z interpreted as a demand for a lot of money to buy their silence. He also describes the letters as blatant blackmail attempts. In his new docs, he accused Buzbee of intentionally filing the Jane Doe lawsuit on the eve of Blue Ivy's Hollywood premiere for the Lion King prequel, Mufasa. Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa. And let's be real, he did do it. I just thought that he literally had something but I have been saying for weeks, if Jay-Z is innocent and Tony Buzbee did he deserves hell to rain down hell. But if Jay-Z is guilty, baby, nobody told you not to settle. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, he says it put him in a difficult position of having to choose between supporting my daughter or hiding to avoid the negative press coverage. So he's going to sue Buzbee. Back in November, he filed a lawsuit against Buzbee for extortion. These new documents are Jay-Z's effort to keep the case alive. He's insisted all along he would fight Buzbee tooth and nail in court to restore his good name. He says he viewed the demand letters as an existential threat to my reputation, my career, and family, and everything else I spent my life achieving. Although his Jane Doe's clients now dismiss her suit, Buzbee doesn't sound like he's backing down in the war with Jay-Z, telling us we expect that lawsuit, which is frivolous, to be dismissed. Okay, so listen, I'm not saying that Jay-Z's extortion case is going to go very far because it is putting 20 on 10. A damn man letter is not extortion unless you got something else. However, by him also adding on blackmail for a John Doe, that lets you know that there was no settlement because Tony Buzbee wouldn't agree to that. But let me also just say this. On one hand, we've always said you don't have to worry about billionaires. They got the money. Just like he got the money, he's destroying Buzbee in the court of public opinion. So stop it. Stop it. Right? Everybody knows you a MF monster. Right? Gossip. Ninja, just stop it. Everybody knows you a MF, right? But so that's it. And the system can never fail a billionaire. Ever. Stop it. However, we also need to count, Buzbee, what are you doing? From the misstep of putting that girl on NBC News to dropping this case before it was even went up for a motion to dismiss, the motion to dismiss would have been rejected because they had enough to move forward with this case, to literally backtracking. And the one thing that everybody's so mad about Jay-Z being dropped that everybody's forgetting, explain why he dropped Diddy. If Buzbee had really done his due diligence like he told us and promised and all this, and I'm always going to believe victims, but right now the victim's saying nothing happened. That's what the victim's saying. But if Buzbee went all that and support victims about, why did you drop the case against Diddy? Because if you didn't really have any evidence, why did it come to court? Again, these questions need to be answered. And there could be answers that make Jay-Z look bad. It could be answers that completely vindicate him. But the fact that everybody is just acting out of emotion and not looking at Tony Buzbee, who has had a lot to say to literally provide clarity. There was no settlement. There was no NDA. Tony Buzbee can speak freely. He spoke freely to TMZ. Why is he so quiet now? Why is nobody answering his questions? Everybody's so mad. Oh. They got to this person. They got to that person. Did anyone get the Buzbee? What? Like somebody asked Tony Buzbee, because I was in his comment section. Ain't nobody got anything to say to him. You guys, these questions need to be answered. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.